I believe at the heart of board gaming is storytelling, and everyone has a story to tell. Welcome to Have a Seat with Amanda Lee, and join me each week as I introduce designers, publishers, content creators, artists, and more from the board game community. There's room for everyone at my table, so have a seat. Hi, friends, and welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 3. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey so far. I really appreciate all the support, the likes, the comments, the shares. It really means so much to me that you guys are excited to meet everybody that I'm introducing from the board game community. Today is going to be a great episode. I have what I consider, in my eyes, board game royalty with me. I have an amazing artist here, Andrew Bosley, who has created some of the most gorgeous board game worlds. He's incredibly talented. You know him from Everdell, Flock Together, Jurassic Parts, the upcoming Manatee Sanctuary, and Potions of Azurland. So please welcome Andrew Bosley.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi, Andrew. How are you today?
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to hang out with you.
Yeah, I really appreciate your time. I know you're super busy, so we'll keep this as brief as possible. So in my episodes here, we do 3 things. First thing is have a seat and tell me all about yourself.
Sure. Gosh, where to start? I'm based out in Prescott, Arizona. So that's the northern part of Arizona. Married, have 5 kids, been married for almost 25 years. 2 of my kids have grown up and moved out, 3 still at home. Let's see, I've always been or always wanted to be an artist, always had plans to be an artist. Feel very fortunate and blessed to make that my living at the moment. Most people know me from board game illustration, the games that you mentioned already. Before I was working in board games, I worked in the video game industry as a concept artist for about 7 years, working for Ubisoft and other companies doing stuff like that.
What would we know you from for that? Is there artwork that
projects that I worked on were I worked on a lot of stuff that was part of Tom Clancy's IPs, so Ghost Recon, Rainbow Six, maybe a little Splinter Cell. The studio that I worked at in Red Storm Entertainment in North Carolina was created by Tom Clancy, and so it was all just kind of his stuff based off of his books. But we dabbled in lots of other things. The Ubisoft as a whole is worldwide, and so we worked on a lot of other titles as a concept art team, doing a variety of different things. I worked on Assassin's Creed for a little bit. I worked on there was a game that came out a ways back called For Honor. But and then after I left Red Storm Ubisoft, I worked for a lot of smaller companies. I worked, mostly when I went freelance, it was titles that most people would not know about.
Sure.
But no, it was a really great time. I really enjoyed working in video games. I interned at Hallmark Cards for a summer, illustrating greeting cards, which was an amazing experience.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, I went to school for art and had a great experience. I studied at San Jose State and graduated 2006, and I've been doing this ever since.
What made you change careers from, kind of corporate working in board gaming to going freelance? Was that a choice, or was that more of a...
You mean in video games?
Yeah. Sorry. Yes.
It was definitely a choice. I think I always wanted. I knew I always wanted to be a freelancer or have my own business and to work from home, worked for a variety of different clients. I think
Mhm.
my early influences in art when I was growing up and in college it was definitely those a lot of those influences other artists I admired were uh, freelance illustrators, and
Okay.
maybe they glamorized the lifestyle a bit and made it seem really really exciting, and it's not as exciting as it I might have thought, or it's a wonderful wonderful life and a wonderful career. But
Mhm.
I think when I was working at Red Storm, it was wonderful. The people there were fantastic. Even the corporate environment, the Ubisoft owning it and Red Storm being kind of the local entity, they were so good to everybody there, and
Good.
and so it wasn't. I didn't feel a rush to leave, but I
Mhm.
knew there was a certain point I was developing my freelance my illustration portfolio outside of concept art and my day to day stuff, and jobs were coming in, and there just came a point where it's like, okay, I could take this job, and or I could stay working here. But if
Okay.
I want to take this, I've got to leave this. And in
Gotcha.
the end, that was
Okay.
the catalyst that made it all start. So,
Sure. So you have just a really unique art style and you create just these captivating worlds. Has that always been your style? Have you always been into kind of creating whole worlds? Or tell me more about just your art style. And I'd like to talk about Manatee Sanctuary just for a quick second because
sure.
I am in the VIP and I know there's two cover designs, and Gray and I just talked about it. And both of ours is the second, our favorite, Gray and mine. This our favorite is the second cover with
Okay.
the manatee that's kind of featured prominently, and he's just got like that "come play with me" look. And I think all of your artwork is just so inviting, and you create these creatures and people that tell stories just from your artwork. And how do you do that?
Gosh, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that one. Uh, I, I don't have a good answer for that. I'm very pleased that the work that I do is received so well. And that particular project has been a cool one to work on, though very small. I mean, it's a small game,
Mhm.
minimal components, and so what stuff I got to work on has been great. And I'll be honest, I'll probably say I think that second cover is my favorite as well. I liked them both, but it was it's interesting when that the concept for that second cover, I did sketches. Whenever I do a cover, I do multiple
Okay.
compositions to just go, hey, what do you like more? And so that original that composition for the second cover was something we already contemplated for the first cover. But
Mhm.
after making the first one, and I'm really really happy with that, and we loved what we did there. It obviously needed to be something different, so we picked a new color palette. We wanted to do something that went with it, but did something different. So I don't know. Perhaps I'm glad I got the chance to work on another image for it. It's a cool theme and a cool environment to play in.
Okay. Yeah. And
But
Flock Together, that's another one. Everdell, again, you just create these worlds. And what's the starting process? Is it the theme of the game is given to you by the designers, or what is that what's the process of basically designing a board game?
usually those themes are already picked ahead of time before I'm brought on. So most publishers, when they've come up with an idea for a game, they're usually have that sort of the theme as a whole settled before they reach out to artists, just so they can perhaps find the best artist for that particular thing. So uh, plenty of plenty of people have seen Everdell, and so I get plenty of calls to do anthropomorphized animals in board games, which I'm not I love, but sometimes I limit a little bit these days. But so
Yeah.
so they'll come to me, hopefully, thinking that it would be a good fit. And there's usually a little bit of a brief. Sometimes I'm helping with the lore and the world building as a
Okay.
whole.
Yeah.
But uh, for better or for worse, board games, you have to purposefully, I think, want to showcase world building. By default, the gameplay is most important, and so artwork is coming in to make the experience more rich and more full. But you really have to try hard. You really have to be purposeful if you want to really create an environment and a story and a narrative that you feel kind of lost in. So not every
Yeah.
game is the same. Like you know, I mean, I was gonna say there's there's plenty of games that I've worked on where it's really just more about creating something with some charm to it,
Okay.
and so it's not like we've developed some backstory. I mean, Manatee Sanctuary, for example, is there is
Not a whole lot of lore there.
there's not a whole lot of lore there. I mean, we've taken a beautiful environment and a
Mm-hmm.
charming theme and then try
Well,
to
you've
do
made
it.
it so inviting. You've done a great job at that.
Well, thank you. So that's the goal. Sometimes we get to go a little bit further with places like Potions of Azurland or
Mm-hmm.
Everdell for sure, or Merchants of the Dark Road. So,
Yeah. So, other than board gaming, what other kinds of things are you into?
um, gosh, lots of stuff. Um, I love to play soccer. I'm an avid soccer watcher, and I wouldn't say avid player, but I play with some friends that do some indoor soccer, multiple times a week.
Okay.
I have a ukulele sitting on my desk, but I
Yeah.
don't play it as often as I should. I am actually part of a local ukulele guild in Prescott, which
Oh,
means I
wow.
attend monthly meetings. That doesn't
Okay.
mean I practice between meetings or anything
We
like
won't
that.
tell.
Don't tell
We
me.
won't tell.
Um, let's see. Hanging out with my kids. Um, and my family, my wife and I love to play board games together. We are also unashamed Korean drama addicts.
Okay.
Let's see, I love to read. I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan. Um,
Do you and
Gosh,
your wife have a favorite game you like to play together?
we we have several. Probably our favorite game is an old game called Attica.
Mhm.
I think it's now been re-implemented and re-themed. It's now called U.S. Telegraph, but it's
Okay.
kind of just fallen by the wayside. But the game Attica, in its original form, we kind of like beat it to death so much that I I said we've played probably 1,000 times.
Oh, wow.
We recently, and I've done a blog post about it. We recently did a 150 game tournament
Oh,
of
wow.
Attica to decide who was the best. But I said after we find out who is the best, we're going to shelve this guy for a
Okay.
while so
That's
that
a
we can
lot of
play some more
Attica.
games. Yeah, it is a lot. It's a really wonderful game. But we're playing these days. That was actually a little ways back. We love spots. Um, just as a casual,
Mhm.
quick game to get out onto the table. Spots is a good one. We're very big spades players.
Okay.
My wife doesn't like to learn new games very much, so our collection of medium weight games we bring out when I want, you know, when I want a little bit more or to explore new games and things like that. I usually do that with my kids or my gaming group, and so that's kind of
Okay.
we tend to stay on the little bit more lighter side as a family when we're
Sure.
all together, and then I dive deep in other things at other times.
So that brings us to like our next topic. We can just dive right in. What have you been playing lately?
I'm on BGA a lot, and I'm playing stuff there. And then when I find stuff I like, I try to get them in my home on my shelf.
Okay.
Fromage is one I'm playing a ton
Yes.
of. It's such a
Have you
gorgeous.
played it both on
Um,
BGA and in person
I just bought the deluxe version, and I've opened
with
it
the
and
lazy
punched
Susan?
everything out. I haven't played it yet in person.
Okay.
I set it up and moved that turntable with my one finger, and it was just the most amazing
Cool.
thing.
It's
But
so
no,
cool.
only played it on BGA, but a
Okay.
fantastic game. Arc Nova, I'm a big fan of Arc
Love it.
Nova. Let's see, recent fan of River of Gold, right? River of Gold.
River of Gold. Yes, that one's gorgeous.
It's so beautiful and really creative game.
It is.
Um, let's see, what else am I playing a lot of? Uh, I gosh.
I should have looked through your BGA and did a little bit more research so I knew what to talk about.
I love Hadrian's Wall is
Okay.
one that I get to the table quite often. Gosh, I mean I'm on there all the time. Oh, I mean there's a group of friends that we're playing Burgle Bros like
Okay.
it's like nonstop. We've actually had nonstop Burgle Bros games going on BGA for the last year and a half.
Okay. Is Matt Mundy part of that group?
Matt Mundy is part of that
He
group.
taught me Virgo Bros on
Oh yeah,
BGA.
it was awesome actually. So I have a Discord
Right.
server for Wits End, and so there were four of us that settled on Burgle Bros. It also same group. We also play a lot of Arc Nova together.
Okay.
But I'm playing with anybody who wants to play from the Discord. But this group of four, we just have these games that we play, and we just
Propose a
rematch,
rematch,
rematch.
Rose and rematch. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it was really
That's
cool.
funny.
We were at Gen Con, all four of us for the first time together last year,
Okay.
and so we got together before the show started and pulled out a game of Burgle Bros and played in person for the first time, which
Wow. That's so much fun.
was cool.
So yeah, just to circle back, we talked about Matt Mundy. He is the designer and behind Flock Together, and that is where I first met you at PAX
That's right.
this year. And you were just the nicest, most down to earth guy, handing out cards with your autograph on it. So now I have a Flock Together autographed Hans. What's his name?
Hans Gruber.
Hans Gruber.
Hens Gruber.
Yes.
Hens Gruber.
Hans Gruber. Yes. Hans Gruber. So I'm so glad that you're here chatting with me. Like, I just really love everything that you're doing. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about you, what you're working on, and how I can cheer you on even more so that everybody will love you and your art as much as I do. What are we working on, Andrew?
Well, thank you. Gosh, there's no end of client projects that I'm working on, and those are I can't always talk about those.
Right.
And in there, while I'm illustrating them, they're not in a complete state, so there's not really much to say as far as client projects. But on the personal side, I mean, on projects that I'm working on, I think some people know I have projects that I'm working on that are part of my Wits End brand, which is my my personal stuff. So probably the two big things that are going on right now. First is, I guess I'm really officially announcing it with you right now. I haven't really talked about it a ton, though it has a long history. Is I will be releasing a new edition of Lightning and Bolt, which is an asymmetrical co-op meant for kids and adults to play together. This has a long history, and I did with the original concept came from a good friend of mine, David Somerville, who designed Vast, and he came to me and had this thing in, and he needed some help with some artwork, and I worked on it. And I was like, oh, this is such a cool concept. He wasn't planning. He designed this for his daughter, and anyway, we ultimately kickstarted it, but did like a make 100, so it was limited to 100 physical copies.
Oh, wow. I
We
need one of
sold,
those.
yeah, sold out really fast, and
Mhm.
but then I have taken over the property since then, and it has had a very interesting history. It was picked up by a publisher, and then I
Okay.
after some time of it kind of, not some progress hadn't been made a whole lot for a little while. They hadn't neglected it or anything, but just there were other irons in the
Sure.
fire.
Sure.
And so eventually I was like, you know what? I think I want to bring this back to Wits End,
Yeah.
directly.
Okay.
And so I've been working on that. It's been play testing a lot. We've updated a lot of rules and updated the components and everything. And it's something I'm really excited about. So that's coming out. I don't have a date, but summer-ish of this year.
So this
Um,
year. Okay.
yeah,
And that's lightning and bolt.
Lightning and Bolt.
All right.
And then the big thing that I have been working on for forever, this is probably a 10-year
Mhm.
endeavor, is the world of the Smoking Bones.
Yes.
That will be on my plate happily for a very long time. But that has been something, that a world I've been developing. All the artwork that you see behind me is all stuff that's related to the Smoking Bones.
Okay.
Uh, but that's it's a pretty ambitious project that I'm taking on, and thankfully with a great partner as well. So I have a series of books that I call the Smoking Bones Saga,
Mhm.
and that is telling the story of a man named Captain Red Jones, and he takes people in the Smoking Bones Travel Company. He takes people to the magical places of the world, and as basically a fantastical tour guide to fantastical places. And along the way, he discovers that these magical places are disappearing. And so this series follows his adventures to discover what's going on. How can he preserve them? How can he bring stuff back? And what are the forces in play that are a threat to these magical places, but the world as a whole? And so that's the story that's going there. But
Did you write that story?
I did, yeah.
Okay. You wrote
Uh,
it and doing that. That's awesome. I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
So that first book is being illustrated. I mean, it's all in planning. The first book is has been written. I'm now making sure that I'm now getting all the illustrations finalized and whatnot. And that's after Lightning and Bolt. That will be the next thing that I will
Okay.
be releasing through Wits End, for sure. But the other exciting part of this, I mean, I'm really excited about the books.
Mhm.
The other exciting part is that I'm partnering with Stonemaier Games. Um,
Okay.
and so there will be a series of games that will be coming out. And the plan, if I cannot fail in my tasks, is to release book one of the Smoking Bones Saga,
Okay.
then game one.
Okay.
Some of our games will come out, which will be and then book two, game two, book three, then game three. All of these
Okay.
in chronological order. So when you
Okay.
sit down for the week, and you read the book and then play a game, and then read the book and then play the game, they'll have a very
I
cohesive
love that. So 3
narrative.
books, 3 games is the saga.
There'll probably ultimately be 4 books in total, but 3 games.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we'll bookend those with books, I think. So, but yeah, that Jamie's been really, really supportive. This last summer, I actually took a break from the saga books
Mhm.
to release a travel guide. In fact, gosh, yeah, I have a early copy of it here, but which is it's just a book filled with illustrations of those magical places that you might visit.
Yes.
There it is. Um, and so that's a fictional travel guide that was published by the Smoking Bones Travel Company, and so that was kickstarted and came out, and we're in production right now, and we'll be fulfilling soon. So
And that book talks kind of about the Smoking, Bones lore, correct? And the background behind Captain and all of that is all featured in that book.
yeah,
gorgeous looking coffee table style book that I am just patiently waiting on my copy.
Well, thank you. Yeah. So
and the onboarding,
oh yes, the
my little
onboarding
cards as well.
pack was pretty exciting. I'm
It's gorgeous.
lots of goodies in that. But yeah, that'll be getting to everybody shortly, and then yeah, it's all part of this big plan that Jamie's a big part of, and Stonemaier Games, and so really excited to see that.
Is there an estimated timeline at all for the first book? Did you mention that, or I'm
First book, I expect will be. I don't know if I can say. No, I can say this. I can't speak to the timeline for the games, unfortunately.
Right. No, just the books.
But the plan. I mean, the plan, and it should be fine. Is to say that the books will be coming out probably early 2026.
Okay.
And so I think that would be fair to say, and then connecting the dots that the game
fair enough
will come after.
So we'll just have to have our beautiful coffee table book to kind of hold us over until 2026, when we should see more. We'll say that much.
So there's lots and lots of work that's been going on for both games and books. So
what does a typical day look like for you?
Oh gosh. I don't get a lot of sleep. So I'm an early riser. I go to bed at a decent hour, but so I get up pretty early. I actually, it sounds really weird, but this is how dorky I am. I made stickers of my schedule, simple little stickers that.
Okay.
So 5 to 7 is my personal time. That's,
okay.
It's certainly making sure kids get up and go to school and help people get to where they need to be. It's my own personal studies on the things that I want to do.
Playing on BGA.
Breakfast, getting ready, getting exercise, things like that. Then from 7 to 10 is my Wits End time.
Okay.
And that's when I'm trying as much as I can to work exclusively on those Wits End projects, Smoking Bones and Lightning and Bolt and things like that. Then from 10 to 6 is my client time. And that usually is the thing that expands. So
that's more than an 8-hour workday.
It is in total. I mean, I'm giving my clients 8 hours, but usually more. And then 6 to the end of the night, that's hanging out with my wife and watching TV. But I mean, in that core time, it's a lot of sketching, drawing, painting, planning, meeting with people, answering. There's a lot of administrative stuff, unfortunately, that have to balance or limit, so that I'm making sure I'm getting all the actual art creation stuff that I need to get done.
Podcast interviews.
Those I'll just stop anything for podcasting.
Well, I'm so grateful.
But movies are often going on in the background. I'm watching or listening to audiobooks, podcasts, loud music, things like that, just to keep me, and always trying to keep myself from falling asleep, which because I'm always in lack of sleep. That's what that's the result. So
coffee or tea?
I'm actually a hot chocolate man myself.
Oh, okay.
I have a Keurig in my office that serves exclusively hot chocolate.
Okay. And, don't muddy those waters with coffee.
Well, I have a sweet tooth, and so that works
enough.
just fine.
Fair enough.
But yeah,
that's so. Anything else that you want to talk about? Anything else we can promote? Where can we find you? How can we follow you? Tell us all the things.
Well, gosh, I'm I am active on social media now. I took probably a 3-year break, so people can find me on Instagram.
Okay.
Not so much on Facebook anymore, but Instagram's kind of my focus for that. But
Hmm.
really, the core of my interaction with fans and is either through my Discord server or my Patreon.
Okay.
Right now, we started something this year, so in January, where one of the tiers on my Patreon I'm really excited about is a new mailed out reward every single month, and it's always going to be a new design that's never been done
Yeah.
before. It'll be and then it'll be exclusive to the Patreon for quite some time. So, but
Have
between the
my
Patreon, between the Discord, we just have a really fun community of great
Oh, I
people.
can't see it. My ranger is up there. He's next to the Everdell
Oh.
game. But yes, this is my wall of Andrew Bosley right up here with Everdell, River Valley Glassworks, Flock Together, Manatee Sanctuary, Potions of Azurland, Jurassic Parts. I've got Tapestry right behind me. Everdell Duo is somewhere. But yes, I got my ranger patch and excited for my sticker. Hasn't come yet this month, but
it's we were a little slow on the beginning of February, but it's in the mail right now. So
well, if you have any postal questions, I am postal worker by day, so I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. So
I forgot that connection, and I remember you mentioning it to that at some point. I'm like, I have to have you on speed dial because that's like
yes.
that is always on my mind. Is how do I figure out this postal service better? So
Yes. Yeah. Just any questions, send me a text. So, everybody, we can follow you on Instagram, Patreon. You've got the Discord, and then also website just to kind of
yeah, of
see your gallery,
course.
see the blog posts that you've written about Attica, the
Yeah,
lore behind that.
stories of Atticus. Sometimes some stuff
Mhm.
on. I'll talk about AI, art. I'll talk about
Yeah.
process. I'll talk about. There's lots of random stuff on there, but yeah, my website is bosleyart.com, and
Okay.
you can find examples of my work there. But yeah,
Well, thank you again so much for taking time out of your 10 to 6 to chat with me. I really appreciate it. And I'm so excited to see everything that Wits End has coming in the future. Thanks so much, Andrew. Have a great day.
thank you. I appreciate it, Amanda.